Hey everybody and welcome to another flip through. This time we're going to flip through Death and Taxes. Now, this is the campaign supplement for the Barons War. This is the first edition Barons War supplement. Now, if you're wondering why I'm flipping this when the new Barons War is out, stay till the end of the video and you'll find out something really interesting. Okay, let's not waste any more time. So, Death and Taxes Barons War Campaign Supplement. It's a really nice book. It's not very big. It's about like A4 size, A5, sorry, A5 size. So it's the kind of book you put in the back of your back pocket. It won't totally fit, but you know what I mean. It's a small book, and it's quite thick. So it's quite substantial, and it's got a little bit of weight on it, which is great. So let's just flip through very quick. Now, in the opening credits, there are some things here I thought were quite nice. For example, you got credits for miniature design, Paul Hicks. The initial range for Baron's Wall were footsore, so I want to assume that this is footsore. And then you've got Warhost Online doing the terrain, and then nods to a cover art as well. This is kind of cool because when you have a designer who gives a lot of credit to all the other components in the book, right? It helps. It's also appreciation, which I in turn appreciate. So that's very cool. Anyways, so it's Death and Taxes. This the contents. Now, what really got me interested in like flipping this book is the fact that firstly it's a campaign book, but it's a campaign around a town, a village, and the village is called Wimentum, the Wimentum village. Okay, bear with me here. So the success of running a good campaign for this particular campaign supplement is to understand the village that it's centered around. So I thought that was a very cool, very cool idea. I'm sure it's been done before, but to me this is really cool. So what does that basically mean? It basically means that you actually have a layout of the village of Wimentum. Now, when you set up your village, the placement of all the different buildings are pretty much set more or less, and the different villagers all play a part. This again I thought was also kind of interesting, and when I was flipping through the book, I realized that doing it this way, you have a table that people can keep coming back to, and you don't have to reset the table or the terrain. Just play the scenario depending on the part of the table that it's set on. So I thought that was really nice. Moving along, you got the key buildings, which is again because the terrain is set, the key buildings are also set, and they also have rules for them, for the different rules for the forge, for the church, and such. The tree house, which I think is quite cool. By doing this, each the table starts becoming a little bit richer and a little bit more characterful. So yes, and then we have the factions. Now, when you flip through the book, one of the first things that sold me on this book was David, whom I would like to thank for letting me flip through this book, told me that the Barons War had a Robin Hood expansion. And I was like, really? And he lent me this book for me to flip through, and I'm gonna flip through this book for you. Now, these are some of the name characters in the book. Now, they also preface this by saying that some of the characters are historically accurate, and some of the characters are made up, right? So I thought that was interesting. They put in the historical characters just to give Wimentum a little bit more well, make it a little bit more realistic, but yeah, I appreciate that. Anyways, pictures of figures. Here we have the Philip Mark, High Sheriff of Nottinghamshire, and then we have Eustace Loudham, the Under Sheriff, and this apparently is a real character. It says here it's a real character born in such and such. And then we got Walter de Grey, Archbishop of York. These are the characters that are in the book. And then you got the Priest of Wimentum. the blacksmith of Wimentum, and then the new warrior types. And here is where we see Robin Hood, right? And this is basically the outlaw faction. And the two new factions that they introduced with this book is the outlaw faction and the Templar faction, which is cool. So with the new factions, you've got new rules, but the book is a campaign supplement. So that basically means it's about the campaign. So the campaign begins right here, and there's a flow of the campaign, right? So it helps guide you through the campaign, and then you've got like non-player characters that play a part in the campaign as well, which is cool. Now we start off with the first scenario, which is called Dawn Raid. This is 500 points each, and you can see the order of battle for Robin Hood, and the order of battle for Eustace of Lodom, and then that's the table, the deployment, red and blue. It's the objectives and stuff like that, and then you have the special buildings and what the special buildings do, and the victory conditions. And that's pretty much the standard format for each mission. Like mission 2 is 750, so this one step up. And this is Robin Hood versus Eustace. Again, the setup is different. And again, deployment, the objectives, in the separate rules and stuff like that. But in this one, you've got rules for Flemish mounted sergeants and such. Moving along, you got the third scenario, which is bullying the bishop, and this is the 500-point game. Again, Robin Hood, and he's against Philip Mark, the sheriff, and you can, as you can see here, it's pretty short scenario. It's a but you got your victory conditions. All the missions are pretty much formatted the same way. So you've got your order of battle, and then you've got your deployment, you've got your special rules, and then you have your victory conditions and such. We've got most of the scenarios about 500 points. Some are bigger, some are 750, which is great. All leading up to the final battle, which is about 1,000 points, and that's the order of battle right there for Robin Hood and Philippe. And that is the campaign. Now the book also has a how to conclude the campaign, what does it mean when the outlaws win, how does the outlaw win, how do the outlaws win, and then how does the sheriff win, victory objectives. Now they could have just stopped it there, but they went one step further, and this is basically how you create your own band of outlaws, which is very, very cool. So you got your outlaws, you got your cutthroats, and then you got your bandits and petty criminals and your forest slingers, your outlaw bowmen, your outlaw leaders, your outlaw noble and mounted outlaw nobles, and stats for them all. Let's see now, outlaw noble commander groups. So it's basically giving you all the tools you need to build your outlaw commander, outlaw group to play. Deserter capitans, deserters right here, and then abilities. Oh, poachers as well. And then you got abilities, and these abilities are right here, which you will add on to your groups. And then moving along, you got named outlaw characters. Looking in here, you'd see Eustace the monk, Fulk Fitzwarren. You got at this point it's me just reading titles, but William of Cassingham, outlaw to the French, outlaw leader. Then you got this bit, outlaw leader generator. So you get generate your leader. Pretty much like you can have your own little Robin Hood, or whatever you want to call him. Then you got campaign rules, how to do your how to build your campaign. Creating your own campaign commander. And then you have basically it's leading you into building your own campaign. And then they have this hex map idea thing for the campaign map, and over here they teach you how to actually run the campaign, which is very, very cool. And then where if you choose to do it this way, then the different hexes will have different properties, as you can see here, and losing the property would lose your items, and gaining properties would gain your items. And then we've got like a nice piece of art here, which is very cool. That's a tree house, and that is what a full table would look like if you use hex pieces to build your table. Then you got playing the campaign, a whole lot of tables here for that to run it and play it and hopefully enjoy it. Let me see if I can get, yeah, so all of these are basically like, you know, the nitty gritties of actually getting a campaign going, you know. While the game may be simple enough, but I think campaign, it just one step up from it. So yeah, so everything you need to start playing campaign is right here, including, look at that, it's cutouts as well that you can use. There you go. And that is pretty much the flip through. Like I said, it's not a small book. It's quite a thick book, and it's substantial as well. Now, again, you in the beginning of the video, you wonder why I'm actually doing this flip through for the Baron's War First Edition. Now, in the description, there will be a link for you to get the PDF that updates Death and Taxes for Baron's War Second Edition. So for those of you who actually have just gotten the Baron's War Second Edition, like me, you know, and by the way, the my unboxing is right there. You can actually go to the link in the description and download the PDF that makes this book compatible with your second edition Baron's War set. So I thought that was really cool. It basically means that they didn't really have to reprint this so quick, because I heard that they're having problems, you know, getting enough pieces or boxes to potential buyers and players. So another project like this would take even slower still. But it was nice enough for them to have a PDF link that you can get to update this book to your Baron's War second edition set. So yeah, so this book is not out of date. In fact, it's about to be updated with the PDF, and I'm pretty sure that for those folks who just got into Baron's War, there will be an updated edition coming soon, maybe in the next year. So I'm not so sure, but again, you know, it's really nice, and you've seen what's inside, and you've seen the campaign, and I think this will be a great addition to your Baron's War starter set that you have. So that's pretty much it. That is the flip through of Death and Taxes, the Baron's War campaign supplement. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.